Welcome to Running on Reddit, r/Bridezillas, where the craziest brides and wedding stories are shared on Reddit. Am I a bridezilla for wishing my future sister-in-law would shut the duck up? We are spending around $30,000 on our wedding because certain things like the flowers, me, and the food, him, and helping our out-of-town relatives, both of us, to be there is really important to us. My fiance's parents have very generously given us $5,000 to start our married life, and we are spending some of it on home renos and some on our dream honeymoon. We saved to fund the entirety of the wedding ourselves. His sister and I get along well. I asked her to be a bridesmaid because my fiance really wanted her in the wedding party and she's nice, so I had no objections at all. She got married 2 years ago and likes to brag about how she spent $3,000 total, which is cool, and I'm happy for her. I know she doesn't really care about stuff like this, and it doesn't bother me. Unfortunately, since day one she's been making a lot of comments that basically amount to our wedding being a frivolous waste of money and how we're idiots. At my first dress fitting, she wouldn't shut up about how spending over $500 on something you'll wear once is dumb, how the flowers are too much for just one day, etc., and comparing it to her wedding. I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I personally thought her wedding was pretty underwhelming, and I don't want this unsolicited advice/flapping. It's getting to the point where my maid of honor is ready to throw hands, and honestly I'm too. We are not asking our bridal party to spend insane amounts of money, no destination parties, one shower, no crazy expensive dresses. I'm paying for hair and makeup, etc., and as far as I know she's fine to cover her costs. She also got $5,000 when she got married, so it's not jealousy. My fiance is an active part of planning, and we agreed on the budget together, so I have no idea where this extreme defensiveness is coming from. Maybe she felt like she had to be my bridesmaid? Am I in the wrong here? $30,000 is actually one of the tamer numbers from these stories. It may be a good idea to have a sit down with OP, groom, and the bridesmaid. Shut up or get out type deal. Bride hasn't invited people who didn't make the bridal wedding shower due to winter weather. She posted on Facebook, "Yesterday was an eye-opener, and because of that I've decided that anyone who didn't show because of the weather and anyone who no-showed will no longer be on my guest list. It's a winter event and I get it. It sucks to drive in the snow, but guess what? It's what we wanted." So, the new people that have been on my secondary guest list will be reached out to, and the ones who bailed on me. I love you all, but I'm not rich, and I'm not paying for no shows ever again. Many thanks to all the people who did brave the weather yesterday, and I look forward to seeing you all in a few months. P.S. This venue is tiny, 60 people tops, so don't be all bent out of shape if you don't get an invite this time around either. For context, it was the first big storm of the year in our area and came up rather unexpectedly. The forecast was City NY. A winter storm warning has been extended into central New York for a storm that could bring heavy snow and some ice Sunday and Monday. The National Weather Service said 9 to 18 inches of snow could fall in central New York, with 1/10 of an inch of ice mixing in. The snow forecast is growing in much of central New York because the storm track appears to be shifting toward the northwest, putting City in the storm's bullseye. Because it had been really warm the week before, many people didn't have snow tires on yet either. The roads were bad and visibility was very poor at times. I get being annoyed with no call/no shows, but yikes. Thoughts? Update: she has removed her post, but there isn't anything addressing it, much less apologizing. Before removing, she replied in a comment, surprisingly, agreeing with her. "I love to get paid and plan other people's. Now that it's my own and I have to deal with this stuff, my tolerance is zero." That bridezilla has to be more considerate, seeing as how it was a large and unexpected storm. So this happened many years ago when I was with my ex. One of his good friends had been dating this girl for a while, and while no one in the friend group was particularly fond of her, they were happy for him when he proposed. She was a bit younger than us, and she definitely acted like it. She was very much her way or no way, and was never very nice to her now fiance, as well as being very demanding and immature. A couple months before the wedding, we received a wedding envelope addressed to both of us, but the invitation itself was only inviting X with no +1. We had been together over 3 years at this point, so it's not like it was a new relationship wanting to attend. I was a little offended that I hadn't been invited, but it wasn't my wedding, and I wasn't really a fan of hers, so I just said, oh well, and told my ex to have fun. About a month before the wedding date, the bride reached out to us and said that she had accidentally forgotten to put the +1 in and was wondering if I wanted to attend. I had the day free and it was close by, so I said sure. We worked out the details, and before we let her go, we confirmed that she knew I would be attending. She said yes, and that was that. The day of the wedding happens, and I notice that only one other couple who had been together longer than we had were in attendance, so I just assumed that the other significant others couldn't join, although I did notice that I was getting some looks for some reason, but shrugged them off. Reception comes around, and we go to sit down, and notice that not only is there no name marker for me, there is also no chair. The round tables could only fit a certain amount of people, so we had to ask wait staff to find me a fold-up lawn chair, and everyone awkwardly smashed together to make room for me to sit on the outskirts, since there was no room. Dinner time comes around and surprise surprise, there is no dinner for me. I had to share the meal with my ex and sadly wasn't allowed alcohol. I was only 20, but hoped that, since it was an open bar and the groom's 18-year-old sister was fellating a beer bottle, I should be fine. I also noticed I was the only one who was asked to show ID. Convenient. Not long after the wedding, it came to light that the only people who had been offered the +1 was the other couple that showed. It was never brought up about me being there, but I could tell that the bride had slighted me, and it was obvious that the friend group thought I had just decided to show up despite only my ex being invited. We tried to do damage control and let people know that we had cleared it with the bride personally after she reached out, but I don't think many people bought it. When they divorced a year later, I wasn't too sad to see her go. That Bridezilla is so immature to pull something like that. Let me know in the comments below, how would you handle that situation? Hey everyone. So, we are all aware that my wedding is coming up in October. I've already sent out all the invitations, meaning most of you have gotten them. Thanks for those who have RSVP'd already. If you have not, then please RSVP by Sunday, otherwise we are not going to be able to have you. That being said, I would like to announce our gift registry to everyone. To all those coming to my wedding, there are a list of gifts that you can bring. You must choose from the list or consult me first. There are no exceptions. The list includes 1. Any KitchenAid appliances over $350. This does not mean regular kitchen items like an apron or spatula. I'm talking about their stand mixer, blender, etc. 2. Any Gucci or Louis Vuitton purses. Other purses are allowed, but please consult me first. 3. Any clothes over $400 from Calvin Klein, Machino, or Nora's. 4. New floor tiles for the entire house. I know this one is a bit of a stretch, but I'd gladly appreciate it. 5. A new car or a new trim for my car, or anything in relation to the car. 7. $400 or more gift cards to any of the following places: 5th Saks Avenue, Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, Calvin Klein, Gucci, Whole Foods, Sprouts, maybe even JCPenney. Other places are acceptable, but please talk to me first. 8. Any Korean or Asian beauty products, totaling $400 or more. 9. Any high-class paintings or decorations totaling $400 or more. 10. A cash gift of $400 or more. So, as you can see, there are a lot of things on here. I'm expecting everyone to spend at least $400 on the wedding gifts. I'll accept slightly lower amounts, as long as you tell me first. Also, everything on here is a first come, first serve. Here's a link to the spreadsheet where you can find who's bringing what. Remember to apply early if you don't want to get me a Gucci purse or anything you don't want to get. Thanks, loves, hugs and kisses. Wow, bet the bride invited a ton of people to their wedding. Also can't forget to ask for a new car as a wedding gift from a guest. If you like the content and want to support the channel, like and subscribe right now, or you'll be running on fumes. Okay, so here's my story. These are just the highlights, but there was so much more. I had been with my ex for a few years when we took a trip, and I was sure he was going to propose. All the hints were there. I had my nails impeccably done during the whole trip because I was expecting it, but didn't know when or how it would happen. Finally it happened, and he gave me the most gorgeous ring I've ever seen. I never asked how many carats it was because I don't think that's a detail that matters. If it's coming from the right person, I really don't care how much he spent. That's where everything went downhill. Every time someone congratulated me on the engagement, he would ask what did they say about the ring. They do realize how expensive it is, right? I told him that's not something I feel comfortable discussing with my friends, and it isn't something I would ever mention. He constantly stressed how I had the most expensive ring out of all my friends. One time, I was so sick of it, I told him I've seen bigger. He was so angry he didn't talk to me in 2 days. At this point we lived and worked together, so this was a lot. It bothered me that he was in considerable debt. He owed me a ton of money. He was constantly using my credit card, wanted to use my apartment as collateral for a loan, and I had no idea how much I was carrying around in my finger. He would go on and on about his bachelor party, which was going to be an extremely expensive trip for all of his friends. But whenever I brought up anything wedding related, he told me he didn't care. The only instruction I had from his mom was that we had to get married in his hometown so all his family could come. We are from opposite sides of the country. When I started planning the wedding that my parents were paying for, he told me he didn't agree with any of my parents' decisions and that he would be paying for everything himself, that we were getting married wherever he could afford, and that my parents might not even be invited. I broke off the engagement after only 2 months. He chose to keep this from his family and friends until everyone bought their tickets to his bachelor party, so once he told them they couldn't back out. Bullet dodged. Guess the groom only saw value in the ring and nothing else. Not even in his own wedding or fiancé. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on the bell or you'll be running on fumes. See you in the next video.